He also operates an absolutely savage team of operators that are building something called Sodaki. And these guys ship, I think, faster and better than almost anyone I've seen in the crypto space. So we're going to talk to him about Ref.finance, and then we're going to talk to him about Sodaki. You guys are going to be happy with both, because the Ref stuff obviously is DeFi information. The Sodaki stuff is really cool analytics and visualizations of DeFi on Near, and then hopefully much, much more as time goes on. So without further ado, let's bring on Didier, the man himself.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. What an intro. Thanks a lot. Hi, guys. Didier here.
Great to have you on. There's a lot I think that people are interested in talking about, but as we always like to start with kind of giving a little background on people in the community, why don't we start a little bit with where you're coming from, how you heard about Near, and what of all the different things you're involved in, what are you doing in the Near ecosystem?
Yeah, well, before I guess my crypto experience, I used to work 6 years for like a consulting company called PwC. So, one of the big fours. And then after that, I moved to London and started to work for Techstars and Barclays. Techstars being like Y Combinator, an accelerator and investment fund. And yeah, I was very glad to experience the crypto ecosystem and crypto markets back in first 13 and then 2018. And then, I just, wanted to have more exposure in this business. And I guess I started a company that built financial products on top of the crypto market. And I guess, just after that, I was very interested in the Near ecosystem and more in, smart contracts. So I just had this amazing opportunity to work with Ref.finance and to be the product manager. So I guess I grabbed that opportunity. And in the meantime, I guess there was a missing piece when Ref.finance started, and that missing piece was the data side of Ref.finance and what is happening behind the scenes. And I guess because Ref.finance was a truly open source project, there were all those methods on the smart contract available to actually call the data, and the only question was, well, what's the use cases for Ref users, and how can we present that in terms of data visualization? Yeah, so I guess just to wrap that up, the product manager of Ref.finance, but I also co-founded Sodaki, and the first use case of Sodaki is Ref Analytics, which is a data and analytics tool built on top of Ref.finance.
Yeah, so I've got both pulled up right here. I think originally you came from the Sodaki side, and then you were added to the Ref community DAO, and then you were hired as the Ref product manager. Is that right? How it kind of went?
Exactly. Yes.
Cool. Yeah, I really like that, because it kind of shows how, and this is a great case study for people interested in crypto and interested in getting into the crypto space. One of the easiest entry points to the crypto space is through community, right? And so you start participating with the project, and then you grow closer to the project, and then the project wants to bring you on. Didier, do you want to talk a little bit? Let's start with Ref. Do you want to talk a little bit about, I think most people they either assume that Ref is like just a piece of code sitting in the cryptoverse, or they think that it's a full staff team with an office somewhere. Do you want to talk a little bit about what the Ref team experience has been like, especially being one of like the first, like I say, like DAO governed AMMs in the crypto space?
Yeah, of course. So just maybe to give more transparency to the community about the team. So the team is spread across the US, Europe, and Asia. And so myself, I'm the product manager. Marco. So we are 7 in the team. Marco is the backend engineer. Joe is our front-end engineer. We have a quality testing engineer. Willa, and then the team just hired Max, who is helping Joe on the front end development of Ref.finance. We have Mency, who is our designer, and he's working on the new user interface, for instance, and all those great new, I guess, user experiences. And then we have on the business side, obviously, Proximity Lab. Bowen, Kendall, Evgeny, they are really close to, they are still really, really close to Ref.finance on the business side. So yeah, just to give like the overview of the team.
Yeah, fantastic. And in terms of what your day-to-day looks like as a product manager for Ref, what does that entail?
Yeah, so as a product manager, I'm obviously interested in, what will be the product in the near future, and like to solve a specific problem, but also to bring value in the space. But I think before pretending, and that gives a bit maybe my perspective or my point of view on the product, I think before pretending to be, different, we need to reach certain standards. And those standards, they are quite simple. Well, having, a good user interface first. Second, having best prices, because at the end of the day, any crypto exchange, they compete with prices. So either it's a automated market maker or a centralized exchange, we compete on prices. And how can we make that? How can we improve our prices? Third, governance. Fourth, security. So obviously, we have a very strong plan to innovate, and that's coming. But before doing that, the focus is, well, let's bring Ref.finance to the top standards on those verticals. And for instance, I was talking about prices. We have the parallel swap, which is coming, and that will allow users to source the best prices on Ref.finance and do what we call auto smart routing. So because today, if you want to swap A for C, but there is no A-C pool, then you can't swap. But tomorrow, you will probably go through A to B, then B to C, and you will have this opportunity to swap A for C. So that's like something we are working on, and that will be live quite soon. And the parallel swap will take advantage of all the existing pools for the same trading pair to give you the best price, which is, I think, the core business of any crypto exchange.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
And just maybe to add something, because Try Solaris was recently with you guys, and WannaSwap is here too. So competition is coming, and competition is coming on Aurora. And so people ask us, well, how do you stand out? What's the plan to differentiate us guys? And I think that Ref will still be the entry door for any near native project. So if you want to have an exposure, to Ref or to Paras or to PixelDApp and so on, Ref will be probably the entry door to have this experience with those projects. Whether maybe on ETH, based token, maybe Aurora will be closer to that ecosystem. That doesn't mean we can't compete on, ETH trading pairs, and we will for sure. But I guess I want to see Ref as the entry door for near native projects.
Yeah, I think that's a really good clarification. So just if you're new to the ecosystem, Aurora is a separate shard of the near ecosystem, and it's built basically to mirror Ethereum. So Try Solaris is the DEX on Aurora that's going to try to accommodate a lot of the existing ETH traders. Ref, has an interesting different trajectory, largely because it's a near native DEX that's hopefully going to be able to accommodate a lot of near native traders. And the near ecosystem is young, but I think it's come a long way. Just looking at your analytics right now, Didier, on Sodaki, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if the numbers this is probably on the monthly. So this is September 7th. So August is somewhere here. And then July is somewhere here. But you can see it's been about 4 or 5 months. So basically from August 22nd until November 7th, there's a $100 million increase in total value locked on the DEX. That's pretty impressive. And I think that if Ref can continue to grow, and navigate the new waters of having an AMM and the need to incentivize trading, I think it's in a really good position to be that near native DEX.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, super cool. Okay, why don't we talk a little bit about Sodaki? Because I know, so this is Sodaki right now, right? This is what Sodaki is today. It's the analytics for Ref.finance. But in terms of what you and your team are looking to do with this in the future, what does Sodaki have in store?
Well, so many things. And first, I would like maybe just to talk about, so what about the team? And so I'm obviously very lucky to work with François and Bertrand, who are both working on Sodaki and co-founders of Sodaki. Plus, obviously, we are, extremely happy to keep chipping thanks to Move Capital support on that specific use case. So Ref Analytics and Sodaki, I think the idea for us is really to make sure we have one of the best analytics tools on top of an automated market maker. And that means we give, information to help users to take better decisions, whether they want to swap or to provide liquidity or to remove liquidity, to, explore the ecosystem and just give that transparency to our users. So in terms of what's next for Ref Analytics, I think that the first thing will be the bridge between the tool and social media. So because we see that data is not only something that need to be consumed directly, but something we can interact with. So for instance, if we can, filter the top swap every day and have, social media bots to inform people, well, this guy just swapped 100,000 USD, for instance, and so on and so on. So just make that bridge between the tool and social media to make it more interactive, to let people interact and talk about that kind of stuff. We also want to add leaderboards. So leaderboards, like what are the best arbitrages and who is, who is making the most out of this activity on Ref.finance? What's the best liquidity providers? What's the best, swappers? And then once we have this leaderboard, we can say, well, maybe we want to reward the top, swappers in terms of volume and so on. So so we will have first this link to social media, second, this notion of leaderboards, and also third, we are also giving some more insights about the financials around Ref.finance. So how much Ref.finance is making as an automated market maker, and every day, how much Ref.finance is spending on its smart contracts, for example. So that's coming very soon.
Well, somebody in the show prep wanted to ask you a question about this tweet right here. So cyclic arbitrage. Snow Crash near about it. Here's a fresh example caught on the Sodaki Live. I think this is exactly the type of stuff you're talking about. Do you just want to summarize, if you can, what this actually means to someone who is trying to understand the concept and what's possible?
Yes, absolutely. So So this kind of algorithms, what they are looking for is quite simple. They are looking for different paths within the protocol, and how can they, like swap a specific token, let's say ref, and then going through different pools, how at the end of the journey can they have more ref. And that's basically an arbitrage within the protocol itself. So this example was pretty nice, but sometimes you have 4 steps. So I think the guy swapped ref for, I can't remember exactly, but ref to near.
Ref to near, near to octopus, octopus to ref.
Yes, and by doing that, the arbitrager was able to extract more value, more ref at the end of the journey. And so I think that you can automatically spot that kind of activity in the live thread of Sodaki. And then if you want to dig in, you can, I'm going to check the wallet and what's the wallet is doing. And then you can investigate and probably, first be aware of that activity and maybe replicate that. So that's a kind of activity that you can see on any automated market maker, actually.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. I mean, you talked about the benefits of this, assuming no funds moved in and out in the period. In less than 3 days, he made probably around $3.5 grand between the near, the ref, the DAI, the banana, and the USDC. A pretty impressive degen move, I have to say.
Yes, exactly. And actually, what you can do here is, using the Explorer, you can check that account and just copy paste all her balances on a spreadsheet, and do the same thing a week later, and just do the difference, and you can actually know what's the return, taking into account some assumptions, but estimate the return on investment this guy is doing, and then assess if you can deploy this strategy and if that could be profitable. Nice. So you can, and actually, Michael, I think you were one of the first to talk about composability, but within Sodaki, that kind of composability will be, I guess, smoother as the application evolves. Like, you see that, you click on that, you see the Explorer, then you can check the wallet, etc., etc. Yeah.
Super cool. And
go ahead.
Go ahead, Chloe.
I had 2 questions. One is, why the name Sodaki? What is the meaning behind that name?
Yeah, there is no, I think, great meaning behind that, but just, have a soda, check the data, and relax. And yeah, I think that was kind of the spirit behind the name. But yeah, who does that exactly? But yeah, I think in terms of features, what we're going to do also is to provide advanced analytics. Like, you are a liquidity provider, how do you manage your impermanent loss, for instance? And can you see in real time your position and decide whether you want to keep it, or if you need to remove your liquidity? So we're going to provide, I guess, this kind of interactive impermanent loss management tool too, and that's coming very soon.
And that's so important as well, because I think in this new space of yield and liquidity providing, et cetera, your data is your decision making material, right? So in a traditional market, you make your trades and you make decisions based on the data coming in, right? How successful was last quarter? What was the revenue stream, et cetera, et cetera. In a similar way, all these DeFi, sharks and whales, they are basing all of their decisions off of data. And that's, I think, why Sodaki is such a great product. So Didier, we have a question from Bonsai Think Therefore. He says, hey, Didier, just curious, what is the advantage of a near native DEX over another cross-chain DEX deploying on near? Any thoughts on that topic?
And against another cross-chain,
did he lag out? Can you hear me, Chloe? You're muted, by the way.
I
Okay.
can hear you. Yeah, I think he's
He lagged out. He'll be back in like 2 seconds. Oh,
It's cool.
okay. Well, in the meanwhile, I wanted to show this before. They actually have a paper written on cyclic arbitrage
I
index.
saw that. Yeah, I was trying to make sense of it.
Yeah. So, and Roger Warnoffer, he's a pretty big guy in the distributed computing architecture space. It's a cool collaboration. It looks between Switzerland and China and the university here. So, if you really are, interested in this, I'm sure many more opportunities like this will exist as time goes on. And this is just something that you might want to deep dive into. I'll link this right now in the chat so y'all can see it.
Do you think as more people find out about that it's going to become like problematic somehow?
I don't know. I think it'll be interesting.
Feels like a hack.
It definitely does. But if you're making $3.5 grand in 3 days, I mean, that's a pretty good arbitrage hack. So, does anyone else have any other questions for Didier when he jumps back on? I think we're going to talk about how he's feeling long DeFi. We're going to talk about, I'm just going to look at the notes here. What else we had?
For the rest of the year.
Yeah. And then of course the migration from wrapped ETH to ETH on Near protocol. That was a really important one. So let's see if he's coming back. Rim, you're here. Do you want to jump in?
Yeah. Hey guys. Rim from Ref.finance DAO jumping in real quick.
Yeah, this is Ref.finance Rim. So Rim also wears many hats, but she's also on the Ref.finance DAO, and she's part of the top tier team of that. So maybe you can explain a little bit more, Rim, about some of these things that Didier was going to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm allowed to take this question, and we'll obviously ask Didier once he comes back about the advantage of being a near native DEX as opposed to like a cross-chain DEX or a DEX in Aurora, is simply the fact that Ref being the foremost and the premier and the AMM DEX of Near, we are very strategically place to leverage the near native projects and their tokens. So when Octopus launches on Skyward, when Pulse launches, when all of these good near native projects that people are invested in launch, where do they go? They go immediately to Ref.finance. There's a pool on Ref.finance. And because Ref is kind of the backbone of Near's value creation at the moment, and we have, we're working also with proximity labs and whatnot, there is a very close affinity and working relationship with all of these ecosystem partners like Paras and Pulse and Octopus and whatnot. So it's I would say Ref has that advantage of being the center of value creation and capture within the Near ecosystem. And as Near grows, I think Ref's positioning will only be more solidified. And that is not to say that we're not, talking and collaborating with DEXs on Aurora. I mean, Trisolaris, they came on last time and they were very friendly. They want to work with Ref, collaborate with near native projects, and Ref will definitely be on DEXs in Aurora just to give more exposure to the east side. And I think that's just, it is what it is, in the sense that Near is a very strong ecosystem. There are a lot of great projects, and Ref is there to cater to them. That's the kind of positioning that Ref is having.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of summarizing it. Just insofar as when you make a bet on Ref, you're betting on the future growth trajectory of the ecosystem, right? So cross-chain DEXs, yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. So Yaron, do you want to kind of explain a little bit of this question of switching from wrapped ETH to ETH native? Just real quickly, because I know this was a topic at NearCon. They have context on the Gov forum of Ref.finance. What's this all about?
Yeah, just super simply, before Aurora launched, all of the ERC20 assets on Near were ERC20 assets. And just to put that very simply, ERC20 is the token standard used by Ethereum currently. So every token that on Ethereum that works there, like DAI, Chainlink, Uni, these are all ERC. They also follow a token standard called ERC20, which makes them operable on the Ethereum chain. And when we had the Rainbow Bridge, being able to bridge all of your Ethereum assets onto Near, and meaning like you could have DAI and USDC and all of this stuff on Ref.finance, one of those tokens was wrapped ETH, right? So ETH being the token of Ethereum, but wrapped ETH being the standard that meets ERC20. That's why they have it on Ethereum, because they changed their token standard. But on Near, because we were bridging ERC20, we used to use wrapped ETH. But now that Aurora is live and the base token is ETH, there is no need for wrapped ETH anymore. I mean, Near uses a completely separate token standard from ERC20. So there's no need for us to cater to ERC20 token standards when it comes to the native token ETH. So that's what's happening. We're transitioning, we're welcoming ETH now. Everyone's going to bring their ETH onto Aurora, and then from Aurora to Near. So Ref.finance is trying to help this migration process. We're easing off of wrapped ETH, and we're only doing regular ETH now. So if you hold wrapped ETH now on Ref.finance, use Rainbow Bridge, use Aurora Bridge, bridge it back to Ethereum. You don't need it on Near anymore. And now there will be an ETH to Near pool on Ref.finance, so that if you want to use ETH on Near now, you can just trade it, swap it on Ref.finance, or you can bridge it from Ethereum to Near, and then you can also farm it or provide liquidity on Ref.finance and get some coins from that. So that's it. That's the team.
Now, Rim, you're gonna have to answer this for Didier, because he's probably not gonna make it back in time. But why are you long DeFi? Okay. And this is a good question. I'm going to drop this in terms of, you can start answering. I'll drop an article about the market cycles and where we are in the current market cycle, and then you can kind of give your opinion on how this runs.
Okay. Just to clarify, this is strictly my opinion. Didier's answer probably would have differed. Didier will tweet at you so you can give your answer on Twitter after the show. But I would say long DeFi just because of the nature. The basic kind of premise or promise of crypto was the fact that you are able to own your data, make control over your assets, and do it in a way that is not censored or oppressed or restricted by any other third party. And when we see, especially I think like just last month when we were talking about all of these Chinese regulations, and now with the SEC, you see the movement to really try to get a hold of crypto, regulate the market, kind of take people's gains away from them. And we're long DeFi because on DeFi, you can evade those problems, evade that kind of censorship. No centralized authority can tell you what you can do and what you can't do. And in the end, that is a big chunk of what financial freedom is, that you are able to opt in and opt out, and you don't have to sacrifice your identity. You don't have to be KYC'd. You don't have to succumb to all of these restrictions and needing to have an identity, needing to have a bank account, being able to, because sometimes, it's a lot of the times it's a choice for people like us where we live. But a lot of the times, depending on where you live, it's not a choice, right? Having a stable bank account, having an authority that you can trust, these are not real options. And in the long run, that's why we're long DeFi.
And just to add to this, I was walking the other day and I was thinking about this, and I was just like, of course this is inevitable. So take a step back and remove some of your mental frames. Mm-hmm. Think about how our information connectivity has increased in the last 20 years. Think about how basic mobility has increased in the last 20 years, and then remind yourself that all financial services, as they're currently done, require a traditional banking process where, normally if you're sending across borders, it takes, anywhere from anywhere from 3 days at best, if you're going to be really, really ambitious with it, to 2 to 3 weeks for moving value, right? So just ask yourself, is this going to last from a economical competitive standpoint, or are they going to look for more efficient alternatives? And I think DeFi, where you use code to kind of ensure a base level of security, not saying anything about index finance and possible hacks there, but basically, if the code is solid and it's been proven and it's been tested over time, people are going to opt, institutions are going to opt, businesses are going to opt, everyone is going to opt for these more efficient and economical ways of moving value. And that's the bet on the long term in DeFi, right? You got to think 5-10 years in the future, right?
Absolutely. And this is not to say that, we're getting rid of traditional finance, that you don't need regulations, that it's complete anarchy. I mean, you can think that also, but on a more kind of regular normie level, let's have the option, right? This is about choice. And let's have the option, if you want to take 3 to 4 days, have a little bit more stability, bet on governments and nation states, have that option. But let's also have the option for DeFi, where you can leverage your anonymity, your lack of regulations, and not being bogged down by authorities and censorship.
Well, we're running a little late, but Didier made it back on. So if Didier's here, I'd love for him to just talk about hiring opportunities, joining the Ref community, joining the Sodaki team, and kind of what's possible there. So Didier, sorry you got off. We're running short on time. If you just want to close out here with opportunities in the future for getting involved in this nascent DeFi ecosystem on Near.
Yeah, well, on Ref.finance, I think the team is hiring for sure. Developers and actually one backend developer. And a marketer at the moment, from my knowledge. And on Sodaki, well, not at the moment, but we are very open-minded to, having a conversation with anyone who would be interested in joining the team. I also think that as our community grows, having more community engagement is something we want in the near future.
Right on, sir. Thank you so much, Didier, for jumping on. I hope we have you on in the future to talk about the future of DeFi on Near, growth of Ref, and especially growth of Sodaki. From Maroon, Bentian, and myself at Move, keep kicking ass with Sodaki. I mean, you guys are serious executors, and you get really a lot done in the time you work with. So shout out to Didier and his great team for what they're doing with Sodaki and Ref.finance. Don't leave yet though, because actually we have now a gaming sub panel where we're going to be talking about gaming in the Near ecosystem, gaming in the larger space. So Didier, I'll drop you off here.
Thank you, guys.
We're going to add in Cronier and Geo. Rim, you want to